Right, hello everyone. Welcome to the mini relationship series. This is part one, which is titled Are You Ready for Love? So I'm going to give everyone just a few moments to log on, and then I'm also going to share the broadcast to my personal page, and then we will go ahead and get started. So I hope that everyone is having an awesome day, and that your week hasn't been too bad. I know there's a lot going on here in the U.S. and just like around the world. So I pray that even in the midst of all that is happening, that you are still finding ways to take care of yourself and to find some rest and just ways to still have joy, even in the midst of everything that is going on. Okay, so I'm almost done posting. Join me now. And then we will go ahead and get into, okay. So done with that. All right, so for those of you who may not know who I am, my name is Sherry Wary. Yes, it rhymes. Yes, it is my real name. I am the CEO, founder, and empowerment strategist of Wary Consultations, LLC. I specialize in equipping women to live boldly in their God-given identity by way of personal, professional, and spiritual development. I am the author of 2 books. The first book is an inspirational novel titled Walking Through the Pain. The second book is a 21-day devotional titled Overcome Pain in 21 Days. And you can find out more information about that on my website at sherrywary.com. Okay, so I do have some notes here with me just to make sure that I don't miss any of the points that I would like to make tonight. And if you have any questions, feel free to actually comment. I am going to be watching just the comment sections as well, just to see if you have any thoughts or responses to, the information that we will be talking about tonight. But before I get into the material, I do want to make a few acknowledgments, so to speak. So the first one I kind of already did is that I know that there is a lot that is happening in our world right now. And so just want to make sure that you find ways to be well. Just with the news of just, from police brutality to COVID-19 to racism and just everything in between, just it's a lot. And so I just want you to know that I am praying for you. We're in this together. And even though it seems like it's just one thing, crazy thing after another, is that we can still make it through this. So do not lose your hope in the midst of what's going on. Second thing that I would like to say is that with the material that we're going to be discussing tonight, is that, again, just giving my, perspective and some information for you to be able to utilize. You want to individualize it to your own journey. And I want to encourage you as well just to seek out the support of just other experts, whether that's a licensed therapist or, other relationship therapists or experts who are true experts, not someone just with a title, who can support you as you go along your own journey. This isn't a one-size-fits-all, so you want to make sure that you individualize the information to be able to fit into your own life. Okay, so this is part one of a 2-part series. So I started this summer workshop series. So every other week I'll be on going live talking about a particular topic. And so for the next 2 weeks, we're going to be talking about relationships. And so the title of the topic or the workshop tonight, or session live, whatever, is Are You Ready for Love? And then part 2 is going to be titled No More Knights in Shining Armor. And I'm really excited about that one. So make sure that you are back here in 2 weeks, Wednesday, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, to hear part 2 of our discussion tonight. Okay, so the way that I frame the information is just to pose like some questions or some points. And so I have 5 of those that I want to go through to be able to tell you about. So we're talking about Are You Ready for Love? Of course, this is about relationships and looking to, be in a committed relationship and marriage as well. And so with the first question that I want to pose to you is that if you're ready for love, I'm just saying hello to everybody that's watching. Is that have you come to terms with your past? Signs that you have not come to terms with your past is that you're in denial of the weight and the size of the impact that your past has had upon you. And so, in some ways, this isn't necessarily a bad thing per se. I just want to say that sometimes you develop coping mechanisms to be able to work through what has happened and to be able to move forward in some sense of the word. However, sometimes you develop behaviors or ways of coping that, although it helps you to survive the pain or the heartbreak or whatever has happened in the moment, the long-term effect of those behaviors actually end up not working in your favor. And one of those is denial. So even though in the moment of a painful experience, even though denial may happen, hi, Auntie Lisa, good to see you. I'm doing pretty good. Thanks for watching tonight. Even though you may need to have a sense of denial to survive the moment that something very upsetting or painful is happening, continual denial doesn't help you to really be able to move forward in the way that you need to do. What happens is that you end up carrying the weight of that experience. Even though you're in denial of it unconsciously, you're really burdened down mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and it's going to come out in other aspects of your life. The second sign that you really haven't come to pass with what has happened, or come to terms rather with your past, and then subsequently be ready for a relationship, a romantic relationship with someone else, is that you're blaming the offenders for the reason why you can't move forward and live the life that you want to live now. Now, with making that point, this is not a justification of what people did that was hurtful, whether it's something they said or, if they were abusive emotionally or physically. Hopefully no one has experienced that who is watching this, but you may have. And so again, this isn't justifying the actions of someone who hurt you. What it is saying, though, is that you can't continue to blame them for your reason of not still being able to live the life that you deserve to live. And so blaming the offenders for where you are today in the sense of can't moving forward. Now, that's not to say, again, that the incident or the painful issues or actions that happen from those people don't still influence what is how you see the world. But again, it should not be a barrier of really why you cannot move forward. And I'll give some tips at the end. That's the second part of the broadcast of how you can move forward. These signs that you're really not ready for love. Okay. The second sign that you have not come to terms with your past, or third sign rather, is that you keep replaying what happened to you or reliving the nightmare of your pain or your heartbreak. It's not to say you need to forgive and forget, so to speak, right? It's that the reality of it is that we have brains that are wired to be able to have a memory or a track record of our life and our experiences. So having the memories and knowing that, okay, this happened, and so now I'm going to be more careful in certain instances is not the issue. The issue comes when you keep replaying that nightmare in the sense of replaying the exact moment and the situation and the feelings that you had in a way that actually ends up paralyzing you and preventing you from being able to have more fruitful relationships with other people that are around you. Okay, the second sign that you really may not be ready for love is a lack of appropriate boundaries. And so this lack of appropriate boundaries can be with your family, with friends, with colleagues, and your significant other as well. And so a lack of appropriate boundaries with family members could be allowing family members to be really possessive and really dictate your life. And again, we're talking with adults. If you're under the age of 18 or you're still living in your parents' household, that's a whole nother discussion. You are still under their jurisdiction, so to speak. So you'll have to work that out. But this is for people who are grown and living on their own, paying their own bills, taking care of themselves, not dependent on other people. And so when it comes to family, it's that, you allow your family to dictate in your way, to dictate your life in a way like you are not an adult that is living on your own. When it comes to friends, is that it's great to have friends who you confide in, but it's that you have to be careful of even what information you share with your friends and, the type of things that you engage with your friends. It's that, sometimes friendships fall off. I can tell you I've been blessed where I have friends that that we have been friends, or have girlfriends where we've been friends for, over 20 years. And that's awesome to have that. I also have friends who I was really close with as a child, as a teenager, and even as an adult, where now we're not as close anymore. And so just relationships change, and that's not always a bad thing. Just as you grow, as you have more experiences, those experiences may cause you to grow apart. And so you don't want to now be stuck in a position where now someone you no longer engage with has information that can hurt you. And if your friendship ends on bad terms, that's even worse, because now they can just put all your business out in the streets. When you look at celebrities and you see this information in tabloids about their personal details. I mean, a lot of it isn't true, but sometimes the information is true. And the reason why that information is leaked to tabloids is because it's people who were close to these celebrities who now abuse that closeness and release and leak information. One common or maybe well-known experience that we know with Meghan Markle. You know, we're not all aware of all of the family dynamics that happened between her and her sister, her and her father. What we do know is that her and her father and sister went on this rampage to really try to tarnish her image. And so it really would have been better suited for them to work that out privately. But as you can see, is that they took advantage of the private details that they didn't know, and then subsequently you saw that Meghan Markle took a step back even with how much that she disclosed to them. With colleagues at work, you know, when you're going to work, it's that you're there to work and to do a job. And it's not to say you can't be friendly and enjoy the relationships with your coworkers, but you want to make sure you're not using your coworkers as like a therapist or seeing them as your best friend where it jeopardizes your ability to actually be able to do your job. Okay? All right, so third sign that you really may not be ready for love is that you have a fear to try again. And not just in relationships, romantic or platonic, but just the fear to be able to really take risks to be able to achieve your dreams. And this can be in your personal life. Maybe, you know, you've always desired to go and travel around the world, but now because of just the pain and the heartbreak that you've experienced, you feel kind of stuck and you're scared of failing again or having those same feelings. And so subsequently, you've never traveled outside of your hometown where you are, you know, or let's say, you know, when it comes to from a professional sense, you may have a desire to write a book or start a business or start a t-shirt line or a jewelry line, you know, whatever it may be. But because of fear of your past and what has happened is that now you don't even try to take that leap in other areas of your life. And so again, that's another sign that you may not be ready for love. Okay, fourth sign is that you are finding or you have not yet found contentment in your singleness and really loving just who you are and just knowing what you need. With being single or not being in a relationship at the time, that doesn't mean that you can't have the desire. There's nothing wrong with the desire at all. Desire is there for a reason, and you know, it's a positive thing. Who wouldn't want the companionship of someone else who can have fun with and support them and cause them to grow as well, right? So having the desire to be with someone isn't an issue, but when that desire to be in companionship with someone else comes at the expense of your own contentment with yourself, that's when you really want to start looking at just, again, the quality of life and even the expectation that you have out of the relationships that you want to, romantic relationships that you desire to have. All right, and then the fifth thing is sign that you're really not ready for love is that you expect more out of your potential partner than what you expect out of your own self. And so you have this heavy burden on who they are and how they should act and how they should think and how they should interact with you, but you don't have the same expectation of yourself. So then what do you do? So first thing, when it comes to reconcile your pain, or it comes to actually come to terms with your past, is that you want to reconcile your past. And so reconcile, the definition of that means to cause to coexist in harmony or to make or to show compatible. When you look at your past heartbreak and the disappointment that you have experienced, it doesn't have to be just your pain and heartbreak is on one side over there, and then your dream or your happiness relationship that you want to have is all the way on the other side of the world. That's not how it has to be. And so when it comes to just reconcile your past, it's coming to terms in a way where you're able to live in your present, to dream for your future, and still be aware of what has happened to you as well in the past and the mistakes or pain or heartbreak that you have experienced, is that it can all still live in harmony. Your pain doesn't have to be in contradiction of your present, of who you are now, appreciating the lessons that you have learned from your past, and your pain and your past also doesn't have to be in contradiction for who you desire to be and what you desire to have as well. And so for all of those elements to live in harmony is really going to cause you to need to reframe just what has happened to you and to be honest about, again, the weight of what has occurred, but then to come to terms with, okay, that's what happened in my past, but that doesn't have to solely define who I am. That's not the only determinant of my ability and of my value and of my worth. Another way to be able to reconcile your past is to go and work with a licensed therapist. Yes, your girlfriends may be great. Yes, you may have some awesome friends who have wisdom and they understand how you feel, but they're not licensed professionals to be able to help you to process through, or may not be licensed professionals to help you to process through what happened. Working with a licensed therapist, even though there's a huge stigma in that, especially within communities of color, it's really to your advantage. You know, licensed therapists, one of the huge benefits is that they are obligated to secrecy. They cannot go and just blast your information to anyone else like, oh, guess what client I work with today? This client is going through ABC and girl, this is crazy, right? They can't do that. And so whatever you disclose in those meetings is private. It's only between you and your therapist. The only time that they're going to speak to someone outside of you is if you disclose that you're going to harm yourself or someone else around you. And so one, you have that secrecy. Two is no judgment. They're not going to look at you because you're a bad or horrible person because of what you've experienced. They're actually there to support you and to really help you to be able to find the path that helps you to live out the potential and the fullness of who you desire to be. And then thirdly, it said they are trained professionals who have gone to school and continue to get training to be able to manage not only just your past and your heartbreak and what has occurred, but to be able to help you to navigate that in a way that helps you be able to move forward in a healthier way. The next thing that you can do to reconcile your past is to forgive. Now, I want to put an asterisk here when I talk about forgiveness because there's a lot of misinformation, I personally believe, when it comes to forgiveness. Forgiveness is not just forgive and forget. Again, the reality of it is that you're going to have the memories. There's not a lot of things that are really painful or impactful that you end up forgetting. So you're going to remember. The other thing is that forgiveness is not justification of the wrong of what someone did to you. Forgiveness really is about releasing yourself from being tied to the incident and being tied to the person. And there's stages of forgiveness. Depending on what has happened to you and how many times and the impact that it's had, it may take you a few months. It may even take you a few years to go through the process of healing, and that's okay. You don't want to go through or rush through the process of healing and rush through the process of forgiveness just for this being able to say, I forgive. Forgiveness is more than just the words. It's a condition of your emotions and your heart, and that takes time to really work through that. And so you really want to make sure that you take the time to heal before now that you go on and you try to forgive as well. Because even with healing, depending on what has happened to you, let's say worst case scenarios that you were physically abused by, someone, a loved one or a friend or whoever, they should be held accountable in our criminal system for what they did. And so part of your healing, you can't forgive them if that person, you're seeing that person every single day, or if you're seeing them at the family reunion, or you're seeing them at your job every time you go to work and that person is not held accountable. There's nothing wrong with you if you don't experience justice as a result of what has occurred. And so justice is just as important to the process of healing as is forgiveness as well. But you got to make sure that you seek the proper support with a licensed therapist. You seek justice if you need to do that. There is a criminal aspect to your pain or your heartbreak. And then you can start talking about the different stages or the process of forgiveness. Okay? All right, so the next thing that you can do when it comes to even preparing yourself so that you can be ready for love is that you work on yourself. And so you seek to be whole and to mature in other areas of your life, or a better way to say that is that you just seek to be your best self now. You don't wait until you have a certain relationship status, or you're involved with a committed relationship with someone, or you're married, to now start working on being your best self. You can be your best self now, and not just for the sake of someone else, but just for the sake of just personal contentment with yourself. And so, whether that's working on your credit, whether it's going back to school and getting additional certifications and degrees that you would like to obtain, whether it's starting your business, whether it's going and traveling, or even finding just passions or organizations to be involved in that really speak to just something that you really enjoy, whether it's knitting or playing baseball or joining a gym, whatever it is. Find something that allows you to be able to work on yourself and to be your best self now for the sake of being happy with yourself, okay? And then the last thing that you want to do is that connect with your passions. Go and travel the world, explore, take risks, do things that that really are going to bring you joy, and don't necessarily wait for a special someone to do it. Like if you want to be a homeowner, you don't have to wait until you become married to buy a house. Buy the house now. And then when you get married, maybe you can buy another house with your spouse, you know? If you want to go and travel now. And then when you do become married or you're in a relationship, you can go and travel to those places and make even new memories and have even greater, a time of enjoyment with someone, but you've already been there. Whatever it is that you're doing, just don't put your life on hold. That's ultimately the point that I want to make, is that you don't want to put your life on hold for the sake of relationship status. Companionship is awesome. It's great to be with someone, but it's like you don't have to wait to enjoy life and be your best self now because of the fact that you want to wait on someone else. All right, so that is all that I have on tonight for the part one. I do have one question in the email, so I'll go ahead and answer that right now. If you have any questions or comments, you can definitely put that in the comment section as well. If you have questions, whether about the topic tonight or even about any of the other sessions I'll be doing, you can email me at sherry@sherrywherry.com. That's SHERRY.com. It will be answered anonymously. I will not put your name on the broadcast, just like this. So here's the one question I did receive. Is that how do you learn to trust again after a heartbreak? So one, I would say just the tips that I went through today would definitely help with that. But the first thing is that you want to heal what the heartbreak was. You got to be honest about what happened to you. And so before you try to jump into another relationship and trusting someone else, heal the initial heartbreak first. Really take time to analyze and think about what happened. What were the things that occurred with that heartbreak that caused you to now feel that pain and feel like you weren't valued and taken care of. Also, you want to evaluate the own decisions and the ways that you can even move to life differently so that you don't have to be put in those same situations. So, abuse is never your fault. If somebody is physically abusing you, that's never your fault. There's no justification of that. At the same token, once you have experiences that you want to be able to learn from those so that you don't get stuck in the same cycle. And so you want to look at ways that you can make have new behaviors, you can have new thought patterns, have a new way of thinking with people that lessens the likelihood of you now being abused or being hurt, again. And then once you take the time to be able to heal yourself, again, get to know you, what you need, what you're looking for in other people, taking the time to work on yourself again and be the person that you want other people to be as well, is that then you can go ahead and try to, be in a relationship again and get yourself out there. Try again. But take the time to heal. I will say that. Take the time to heal. Take the time to, again, just don't rush. Don't think another relationship is going to heal just anything that you had, the old relationship that didn't work out. Just jumping right into another relationship, all it does is just really widen your wound and exacerbate your pain. And then you have a much bigger issue that you need to really heal from as well. All right, so that is all that I have for tonight. Thank you, everyone, for watching. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. And I look forward to seeing you all again 2 weeks. So for the rest of the summer, every other Wednesday, 8 p.m., I'll be live here on my business page about different topics. The next topic in 2 weeks is part 2 of the mini relationship series, which is, the topic is No More Knights in Shining Armor. I'm really excited about that one. That's going to be really good too. So make sure that you tune in. You can connect with me here on Facebook, Instagram. My username is Sherry_Wherry, and then my website is sherrywherry.com. All right, so take care. I look forward to seeing you all again in 2 weeks. Make sure that you are, again, taking care of yourself. Do not watch the news 24/7. There's a lot happening. Take a break. Still find time to enjoy, and don't lose your hope. Make sure that you continue to pray, you trust God, and allow Him to be able to give you the hope that you need to make it through everything that we're going through as a country, as a community, but even individually as well. All right, take care, and I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.